Welcome, everybody, to this episode of the Ninth Grade Experience podcast. I'm your host, Chris Dutchko. The goal of this podcast is to give you the story of ninth grade students here at Emmaus High School and beyond through the people who live it daily, the students and the staff. We attempt to touch on real issues and stories that ninth grade students face in order to prepare them to know that ninth grade counts. So on our episode this week, we finally were able to catch up with two of our freshmen that were on the state championship field hockey team for this past season, Autum Kernechel and Lauren Kushma. They were, as we talk about in the episode, they were extremely difficult to track down. They're very busy, but they carved out some time for us to share some of their accomplishments through the season, what it's like to be part of such a historic program. So hopefully you enjoy their conversation. One thing we want to advertise here on the ninth grade experience, this was just posted recently, was Emmaus High School is having a night at the Phantoms. It's going to be February 19th, 2022. Be on the lookout in your Schoology or school district email for updates on that and how to buy tickets. You can win different prizes and a chance to even ride on the Zamboni between periods. If you've never been on the ice at the PPL Center, it's really cool. So I would highly recommend getting your tickets in order to try to win that prize. You can see Mrs. Counitz for more information for that. And maybe we'll try to do something related to that game in the second half of the school year here when we come back after the break in January. So we are going to do our New Year's resolutions episode after the break. We've been getting a lot of great responses on the message board, but with everything that's been happening in the school over the last week or so, it's been tough to get around to talk to people. So maybe after the new year, we'll go around and see if people had some time to reflect on those New Year's resolutions. So if you're looking for past episodes of the podcast, you can go to ninthgradeexperience.com. You can watch them on YouTube. We're almost at 5,000 views. So thanks a lot again, everyone, for getting on there. We want to get that subscriber count up too. So for the holidays, if you're looking to give a gift to the ninth grade experience, you can subscribe on YouTube or subscribe to the audio podcast, which you can find all the links on ninthgradeexperience.com. We just went on Amazon as well as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all those great places. And we're trying to get to more spots as well too. So hopefully you enjoy this week's episode with two of our outstanding state champion field hockey players, Autum Kernechel and Lauren Kushma, and have a happy holiday. And we will see you in 2022. Joining me today are two of the members of the state championship field hockey team that started as freshmen. And I've told them previously that these are two of the hardest students that I've ever had to find time to interview. They have been busy basically since the middle of October. We tried to talk to them at different points of the season, and then they went on to win a state championship. And of course, we didn't want to bother them during that time. So we had a couple moments today to catch up with them. So I'm joined today by Autum Kernechel and Lauren Kushma from the state championship field hockey team. So thanks a lot for joining us today, ladies.
Thanks.
Yeah,
So I like to start off by asking everyone what their ninth grade experience is like. So we're right up here at the holiday break. So you can talk about, you have about 4 months now of being a freshman here at Emmaus High School. So I'll keep it very general to start. So what has your ninth grade experience been like? And either one of you can kind of start. And for people listening on audio, it might be helpful to just identify your name, who you are first, so that they can hear you, who you are.
Okay, I'm Lauren.
I'm Autumn. My ninth grade experience has been good so far. I've gotten a lot more independence, like compared to middle school, so that's been nice.
Yeah, I agree with Autumn. I like how I've kind of figured everything out and I've gotten used to it. I like the workload. The teachers are all nice, and I like it a lot more than middle school.
So I remember a couple of years ago, I had Abby Burnett, who was a member of the championship team on. I had her on, and she talked about playing as a freshman field hockey and kind of balancing the commitment of playing field hockey to just being a student. So you started off coming in as freshmen, started off on this varsity team, ranked probably number one, at least in the state, number one in the country. So you're coming in August. You don't have the normal freshman experience of kind of getting your feet wet a little bit. So what was it like kind of coming in that experience, knowing that you're walking into playing a sport that's so demanding as freshmen?
It's definitely
Go ahead.
all right. It's definitely a lot different, and it took some getting used to. But then once I got used to it, I actually liked it, and I like playing in high school, and it's like a really good experience.
Yeah, I felt it was a lot at first, like having a lot schoolwork and field hockey, but I eventually got used to it, and it was like nice. I don't like being not busy, so it was nice having.
Well, I can vouch for that. I don't know your everyday lives, but I know that you have been really busy since October when I reached out. So it's always kind of really interesting for me to see that, especially with freshmen that are able to maintain that balance. Um, did you expect when you came in, now obviously everyone tries out for the team, but you kind of maybe know beforehand, like where you stack up against everybody, but did you expect to come in as freshmen and make the varsity team, starting right away?
I didn't expect anything. I knew everything I was gonna get, I was gonna have to work for. So I wasn't expecting anything. I was just going in there and knowing I had to work for my spot.
Yeah, I agree. And I didn't know like much about the other girls, but then I got to know them, and I got to know like the environment and what I was playing with, and that helped a lot.
Yeah, and I think that's a key. Like you had a support system kind of when you entered the school here. So you had a support system of people that could help you to kind of get acclimated to the school and acclimated to, being a varsity athlete. So was there a time, like, did you always feel like as a part of the team? You hear the stories about like, freshmen not necessarily being welcomed, or maybe you took a spot from somebody that had been playing a while. Did you feel part of the team like right away, or did it take a little bit of time to kind of feel like that you weren't just the freshman on the varsity team?
I personally knew a lot of the girls before, like playing club and stuff in middle school. So, um, I knew most of them already. But when I was like playing and stuff, I felt welcomed by the other people that I didn't really know. So that was nice. Everyone was really nice on the team.
Yeah, I agree. At first, I like was kind of shy, but a lot of the girls like welcomed me, and I got to know them right away, and that was really nice.
Yeah, giving you the support system there. And then obviously, then no one hands you anything in the Emmaus field hockey program. So for you to get there as a varsity athlete right away shows how hard you work and your skills and all of those things. Was there a point in the season where either one of you were, playing and kind of feeling like, you really felt like, that you deserve to be there, or like you had like a varsity moment of like, oh yeah, so this isn't as hard as I thought it was going to be, or just kind of that moment where you felt like you really belonged in the games?
I definitely felt like I contributed to the team, but I always felt like I always felt like I could work. Like you could always have something to improve on. You're never perfect, and there's always something to get better, something to improve on. So
Yeah, I agree with Autumn. You can never really like work hard enough, and I never really expected anything, so I just had to like keep going and see how it went.
So you go through the season, and obviously there's some big milestones that are hanging there in the balance as you go through. So Coach Butz-Stavin goes on, and I forget the exact time frame, goes on to win her 1,000th game as a coach. That's when I first reached out to both of our guests on today. I was like, "Ooh, what would it feel like to be, a freshman, new to the program, new to this experience, being part of such a historic win?" So you've had a couple weeks here to reflect on that, or maybe think about it. Now, obviously you went on to more team success, but when on that day where the 1,000th win happened, what was kind of like, could you really put yourself in like a place of history, like imagining like how many previous players had come through, or what was that feeling like to be a part of the 1,000th win?
I think it was definitely a good experience, and like since she was the first coach that had happened to, I felt like kind of good to be a part of that.
yeah, I felt like it was really special because so many girls like work so hard, even like for many years, like not just this year. So many people have like worked so hard to get coached this moment, and it was really special.
Yeah, it's really an interesting thing. Like, you know, you start your season, and of course you're going through, and like during your freshman year you're part of this huge celebration, this 1,000th win, which no coach has ever done before. So just another normal freshman experience of being part of such a huge milestone. So you go on with the rest of your season, and you guys claim the EPC title, you claim the district championship for the 34th year in a row. Is it 34?
I think so.
Yeah, like almost as old as I am, which is crazy, right? That they won the district title that many years in a row. And then you move on into the state playoffs. So, obviously Emmaus field hockey is judged by state championships, whether fairly or unfairly. You've kind of set the bar that high as your team has. So as freshmen going into the state playoffs, like, did you feel any extra sense of nervousness being a part of it, like not wanting to, for lack of better words, like screw it up? You like were undefeated up to that point. You've maintained a pretty strong record against teams and playing really well. Like, was there a sense of, ooh, now it's like, now it counts? Was there kind of that extra added pressure on?
I was definitely nervous during state playoffs. There was like some people we had to like step into bigger roles sometimes, and it was like extra pressure. But again, like our support system, like the teammates, they really like supported me and supported like everyone, and so that really helped. And they've been through it a bunch of times, so they knew what to expect, and they kind of like helped me with that.
Yeah,
How
I
about,
agree that. Oh, sorry.
no, go ahead. I was going to say, how about you, Lauren?
Yeah, like I really like the support system and everyone. Like the team got to be really close. I think that was like one of like our strongest like suites, and that really like helped with everything. All the team.
So you go through, and there were some closer games. A lot of times during the regular season, the games are not necessarily that close, but there were close games throughout the season, and it seemed like all throughout the state playoffs, the games were a little bit closer. Now I know Autumn was a starter for most of the season, so as the games got a little bit tighter there in the state playoffs, like, what was the attitude of the team, and especially you as a freshman, kind of being a part of it, and maybe not necessarily being a vocal leader in any sense of the way, but like kind of what did you sense from the players that have been there, kind of going through that process as it kept going deeper and deeper into the state playoffs?
Well, we really focused on as a team like playing the full like 60 minutes, playing the full game, because if we would get like stop playing, we kind of like that would be bad and they could like score. So we really focused on playing the whole game, stuff like that, playing our
Yes.
heart.
Yeah. And, I think a lot of times people just assume like Emmaus field hockey, they just win by showing up, unfairly, I think. But then you see like a lot of times, like, especially when they get deeper and deeper into the state playoffs, there are games, super competitive games, and you're playing against teams that have multiple players going to different colleges. And, the games are a lot tougher than what, I think a lot of times people think Emmaus field hockey has to encounter. So you make it through, you win the state championship. So as freshmen, kind of in that experience, what does that feel like, knowing that now you are part of a program, your first year, you were part of the 1,000th win. Now you're part of the state championship, and it's the second consecutive one. So now you're part of like, does it feel like, all right, now we have to keep this going for 3 more years? Obviously that's where you want to be, but what does that feel like now as kind of being state champions?
I feel like I know our coaches always tell us to like focus on the future and focus on like what's coming up next. So I feel like this season was over with, and it's good to like celebrate it, but we always have to focus on like the next season and what's coming up next.
Yeah, it was really special being a part of all those accomplishments this year. Yeah, that's really much.
I was going to say, could you even stop to enjoy it? Because the two of you strike me as like, you were like right away playing your club field hockey, you're back training, you're just playing right away. Like, did you actually stop and be like, wow, I can't believe that I was just part of this state championship team. Like, this is so cool. Or was it just like, business is normal, I have free practices next week I have to go to? Like, could you actually stop to like enjoy the moment?
Well, the season really never stopped for me, but I definitely was able to take it in and understand how special it was to win a state championship. Not many people are able to do that, especially their first freshman year.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, it's just like, like I said a couple of times, like, you were so difficult to get a hold of. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, these girls just won the state championship. Like, they don't take any time off. They're right back on the grind. I'm like, man, if I was like a freshman and I won the state championship, I'd at least like maybe take a week off or something. But no, they were like right back at practice the next week, practicing with their club teams, getting ready. And I know the two of you are playing all over the place. So I don't know. It just kind of shows you like the commitment that the Emmaus field hockey players have. So if you were to talk to any potential field hockey player or coming up through the ranks, maybe a current 8th grader, or maybe even a 7th grader that wanted to play as a varsity player early on in their career, let's not say 9th grade, but maybe, what kind of tips or recommendations would you give to those students in like 8th or 7th grade if they really want to be a part of the Emmaus field hockey program?
I think one thing that I like had a good mindset of, like, I knew nothing was going to be handed to me and I had to work for everything and nothing was going to be easy. And preseason, there's a lot of hard work you have to put in to get where you want to be. So that's what I would say.
Yeah. And like everything that we've been taught by the coaches has kind of like prepared us. And I know to like pay attention and pick up like keys that they've taught us. And everything that we've learned in the past has like kind of came to help us. So I know to like use every skill that I have, and everything has kind of helped me like to get where I was. So I paid attention a lot.
So I believe I asked this to Abby when she was on a couple years ago. Do you have a good Coach Butz-Stavin story or something that she kind of like something she imparted on you during the season, or even like a funny moment, or just something that like I think people know about her, but like from your perspective of playing with on her team for the first year, is there something that you can point to with her, or kind of like have a good story or anecdote about Coach Butz-Stavin as like kind of just what she was like this year?
She's actually a really funny person. She's like, she does make a lot of jokes during practice, but she's also like really supportive and she helps you a lot. Like if she's noticed you're struggling, she definitely helps you.
Yeah, she definitely did make some jokes during the practices and during the season. And she always brought someone up and made sure they were like smiling.
So we're kind of getting ready to end our conversation here. So I thank Autumn and Lauren for joining us here. Any last words of like how, like if you were to give recommendations or tips to somebody coming up to 9th grade next year on how to balance, if you were going to be a varsity athlete in any sport, balancing that school athletics balance, what has been the biggest key for you that they can, you know, do on their part as they kind of enter high school next year?
With work, definitely like don't wait to get stuff done. Get stuff done like right when you get it, and like manage your time. Like I had notebooks and like reminders on my phone set for when to do things, so I kind of like plan stuff beforehand.
Yeah, I think just doing your work right away and making sure like you're still enjoying yourself when you're like playing your sport and stuff, and make sure you're not too stressed out.
And those are great tips. These are tips that come up over and over again, especially from the athletes that we have on about managing time. They seem to all figure this out. Like I think this is one of the groups of students that figures this out the quickest, is because they have very little time available. They have to manage it. And I like what you said there, Autumn, about, you know, still enjoying the sport. Like, you know, you have this impression of Emmaus field hockey is like, you know, just the field hockey factory. But I think a lot of times, and especially when you watch the players, they can kind of, you can see how much they're enjoying it out there, and, you know, and enjoying that experience, and a freshman experience that you'll get to have now for all the rest of your days. Do you feel any pressure of carrying that tradition, the Emmaus field hockey tradition, on now?
There's definitely some pressure, but I know if we still like we work as a team, we'll be fine.
Yeah, I feel like that, and you can't really expect anything. You have to keep working, but when everyone works together, everything goes fine.
And I think that's the message in talking to several field hockey players, is there's always this working together and keeping it going. So big thanks to Autumn and to Lauren for joining us today, recapping their amazing freshman year run through the state field hockey playoffs, and kind of what it was like to be a part of the historic 1,000th win for Coach Butz-Stavin. So thanks a lot for joining us and finally carving out a little bit of time for the 9th grade experience podcast. Hopefully when you're, you know, off on your way as seniors to whatever cool university you're going to go to, you kind of remember you can look back on your time here in the ninth grade and kind of think about this. So thanks a lot for joining us.